At the age of 7, Melissa Jane Dichiera was already in the spotlight. We're going to meet her right now. Melissa Jane.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Or call me MJ.
I can call
friend.
you MJ?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So at 7 years old, you find yourself in the spotlight. How did that happen?
Well, I had been singing since before I could talk. Singing was clearly something that was in my blood and just made sense to me.
Wow.
And I had already been in going to singing classes and training and dancing for a few years.
Wow.
I was at the Johnny Young Talent School, and I was in the performance group, the Johnny Young Talent team, kind of like the Mickey Mouse Club, and they perform, and they also would do like a TV show. And when I was 7, they had me as a special guest on the Early Bird Show, an Australian kids' morning show.
I was about to say, none of these shows or these names sound familiar to me.
Yeah.
So, do you remember that at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I remember the drive there with my mum, super early in the morning, and sitting in the makeup chair, and there's this, famous comedian in the other chair next to me, and I totally recognized him. I thought, this is where I should be.
What was the transition like? How many years did you do that until you came here?
So in Australia, I did Johnny Young Talent team. I did an opera scholarship.
Wow.
Then I joined rock bands. Then I went back and I got my performing arts degree. And it was out of that. So that would have been like 20 years later. And then I got to a point where I was ready to take it to the next level. And through the performing arts school, they actually were the people that put me up for an audition for this group in Japan called Les Bijoux.
Right.
And they were looking for one non-Japanese singer, and they were auditioning in Australia, the USA, and the UK, and I got the job. Why did you have to decide you had to set me free? I'm gonna swallow my pride, begging you please, oh baby please. Gonna walk by myself just to prove that my love is true. Oh, for you, baby, till you come back to me. That's what I'm gonna do. I love Japan. Absolutely fell in love with it. Never thought I'd go there in a million years.
Wow.
In fact, when I was in high school and they were doing the curriculum, they added Japanese, and I thought, that's stupid.
Wow.
Who'd use Japanese? I would never use that in a million years, and I ended up living there for a whole
Did you
year.
use it?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Nihongo skoshi hanasimasu.
Wow.
I love Japan. I have this tattoo,
Oh my
half
goodness.
my body, the cherry
Wow.
blossom.
Really?
The producer of that show actually was from Los Angeles and had encouraged me to come to LA. And so when that contract was over, I was kind of like, oh, I'll check it out.
So you come to LA, and one thing leads to another, and you meet Don Yancey. How did that happen?
He found me on this site called Bandmix, which is like a musicians classifieds thing, a little bit like Craigslist, right?
Okay,
but just
sure.
musicians. And I had a profile I'd put up when I first moved to the US about 14 years ago, and I had kind of forgotten about it. And so 14 years later, I get a little bleep came up, a little message, and it said all the right things. Melissa, would you like to be in a soul rock band that does Aretha Franklin, Etta James, Tina Turner? And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. These are all like artists that I love, passionately. Aretha Franklin, I had boombox with the greatest hits, 30 of her greatest songs, and I used to play that to death. I know so many Aretha Franklin songs. And this is like at 6 years old, 5 years old,
Wow.
So it was meant to be. I've been waiting my whole life to do this. You thought you had found a good girl, wanna love you and give you the world. Now you find that you've been misused. Talk to me, I'll do what you choose. I want you to And I've always wanted to do that, and then to combine my rock edge into it as well. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Tell me a little bit about that experience when you're singing in front of a band who's playing arrangements and really knocking it down. You know, like, what's that feel like?
It feels fantastic. Like, that energy, it's contagious. Everyone has really good energy, and that is always, you know, a great find, you know, when you find people and that energy just is flowing, and then you get everyone's great energy lined up. It becomes this huge ball of fantastic magic.
So when you were singing with the Japanese girl band, those were they tracks?
Yeah.
Prearranged?
Yeah.
So you couldn't get off track?
No.
Like if you missed a beat, you were in
Yes.
trouble, right?
Yes.
It's a lot like this.
Yeah.
You're playing to it's not tracks.
No.
These are live musicians.
Fully live. No
Yeah.
pre-recordings.
Nothing
Yeah.
pre-recorded.
No.
If you miss your place, you're gone.
Yeah.
Right? You just have to
Or you
twiddle your
gotta
thumbs till you get back to wherever you
be very creative. Yes.
Yeah. So what's that like, though? I mean, because I've done that actually with big bands, and I describe it this way. I say it's like a freight train behind you, and you're running in front of it. Because if you miss a beat, the train just goes right over you and keeps going. Is that how it feels to you?
Well, I think that there's when you can get yourself to this place of comfortability where you really have honed in on the songs and honed in on the group, and you have kind of trust in each other musically. When something like that would happen, then it's like they know that you'll find where you need to come back in. They know, so you just lock it in, you lock it down, you keep it, you know, flowing with effortlessness, so that it becomes easier just to jump back in and know where to jump back in. So much so that no one would even know. You know,
well, you're all pros.
It would be like our little secret.
I really appreciate you coming by, and I really want to thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Because it's an incredible story, and I'm sure there's more to it.
So much more, and there's so much more to come.
Well, I think everybody should keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
And thanks again.
Do it. Yeah.
Yes, don't be afraid.